I've been trying to cut down on carbs, sugar, and healthy food and realized I basically can't eat anything anymore, especially during breakfast. That's why it's great to have Magic Spoon. Let me tell you about this cereal. It's got 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. Only 140 calories a serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. You can build your own box or get a variety pack with available flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, that's my favorite, peanut butter, blueberry, and cinnamon. Plus, Magic Spoon is bringing back 2 super popular flavors. It's cookies and cream and maple waffle, permanently too. When these flavors were first introduced for a limited time, they were sold out extremely quick. So go to magicspoon.com/Adam to grab your delicious cereal and try it today. And be sure to use our promo code ADAM at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their products, backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/Adam and use the code ADAM to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
What's up? Welcome in. Hoge and Jahns back with you midweek in between preseason game number 2 and preseason game number 3. And Johnsy, what will be a start for Justin Fields, for whatever that's worth.
Still not the starter, but he will start against the Tennessee Titans in Nashville.
That's right.
That's something, I guess. Better than nothing, but it's something.
Yeah, the Bears are going to treat this one, it sounds like, as more like the old school 4th preseason game that everyone's kind of used to. So in this case, that means Andy Dalton's the starter. He's not going to play. Justin Fields will play about the first half, and then everybody gets treated to Nick Foles for the second half.
Slice and dice, baby.
Right. So we will be there for the game. First road trip in a long time, and looking forward to that. So we will be there, and we will have a post-game episode for you. What'll be really late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, but you have that to look forward to. Welcome in. Hoge and Jahns here with you at Adam Hoge on Twitter, at Adam Jahns, and you can read him on The Athletic. theathletic.com/Hoge and Jahns is where you go to subscribe. You can read me at NBCSportsChicago.com. Got a column up, just posted, on Matt Nagy's offense and how he's going to get it going in year 4. And to help us figure that out, we bring in our guy, Nate Tice, the original Justin Fields stan, as I think that kids would say. Is that what they say?
I think they do. They do.
Something like that.
I can't like say that without thinking of the music video. So I'm just always like, Is that what you want to be called?
That's an Eminem reference for all you young people out there.
Oh yeah. You know, the guy that does the Rihanna songs now. I think that's how people know him now.
Which is crazy, because that is not how I remember him. That's for sure.
No.
All right. Well, Nate's been awesome. We love having him on the podcast. And last time was post-draft. We had him right before the draft when he was really advocating for Justin Fields, and then the Bears ended up making the move. So time to check in. Nate, you are an awesome follow on Twitter. People should be following you at Nate Tice. I think there's an underscore there at the end too, right?
In between. Nate _ Tice. Yeah.
Let me make sure I got that.
I don't know why I did that back in the day. I still don't, because I think Nate Tice was available, but whatever. Oh. Yeah. I know. And I think the Nate Tice that took it too is like, he has some controversial sports takes, so I think he's fooled a couple people. Like, yeah, I think he's a huge Jets fan or something, and he'll tweet at like local radio all the time. And I'm like, and I see people like tweeting back at him. I'm like, oh no, that's not me, please, I promise.
I might have to follow him.
I know.
He's like, he doesn't think the Bears should have gotten rid of Mitch Trubisky.
Oh no. Yeah. He honestly is like, he's clamoring for like some like late 90s football. Rex Grossman, he wants Grossman back. He wants those Bears teams back. Like that is his epitome of football right there.
Well, the conversation that is raging in Chicago, and honestly, it seems like nationally too. This has been a big story and no one seems happy with how the Bears are handling this, and it's mainly because in 2 preseason games that have been on the NFL Network nationally, so pretty much everyone's been able to watch them if they want. Justin Fields has looked pretty damn good, and Andy Dalton in the first team offense has not. Even though Andy, in all fairness, has not really played with any of the starters. So, Nate, how do you feel like this is going from your perspective, watching the games, and how do you think the Bears are handling it?
I'm still waiting for him to let him loose a little bit, but it has been good to see some of kind of the concepts he ran in college sprinkled in, which weren't college concepts. They were actually more pro concepts, but Ohio State ran them, but then a Nagy Reed offense doesn't really major in them. And the concepts I'm talking about is like more vertical kind of stuff, 2 goes and a post in the middle read, as I'll call it. And seeing Fields read everything out. I went into these preseason. I'm like, okay, not just a grain of salt, like an ounce of salt with everything. It's preseason, it's preseason, it's preseason, it's preseason. I just wrote an article on Trevor Lawrence, and the whole time I'm like just banging my head, like, just don't get too excited. It's still exciting to watch him. Like, it's still cool to see. There's none of the worries that you see with a rookie quarterback where their eyes are all over the place and they just look panicked, where it's like they're locking in one guy and then they're like, that guy's not coming open. Then they just panic. They just scramble around. They do frantic stuff. When Justin Fields was scrambling, it was controlled. There was a reason to scramble. Hey, guy ran the wrong route. Hey, the left tackle, the D end pinched inside the left tackle, so he breaks contain. How many times have you seen him do that already? And that's been 2 preseason games. He's done it like 3 or 4 times. He did it in college. Like he made corners miss on blitzes. Like he has that natural feel. Lawrence is the same way. Trey Lance actually has a little bit of this. All these guys have looked really good, which is kind of scary because you're like what am I missing? Like, that's always really scary in the preseason, but there's been nothing that's really worried me with him. The one thing that I think kind of got blown out of proportion was when he got smoked on that one blitz and took a hard hit, and that became a whole thing on Twitter. Everyone wants to show how much they know protections, but really what it came down to is I don't know who is the center or the quarterback who that's on, but I know one of them's got to catch it. All they had to do was just change the protection to the right. But what's so cool, seeing how Fields operates pre-snap and how he controls everything, I know he'll never forget that. Like, because they ran it again. They ran a similar pressure later in the game. He was totally fine. He got the ball out quick and he knew it was coming because the offensive line screwed it up again. So he was like, okay, I'm not getting caught again. No, I'm not taking that one to the chin one more time. So I'm seeing just what you want to see. It's good eyes, control of the offense. There has been some false start stuff, but that's back up since preseason. But it's just what you want to see from a rookie quarterback. It really is. And that's why I'm still torn why he's not starting week 1. And how about when the tweets announcing it were like saying it, and like they're saying Justin Fields is the starter for the week 3 of the preseason, and he will not start week 1 of the regular season. Like they just kind of like dotted it. And but yeah, so I think, I don't know, I'll let him loose, especially how that O-line's looking, because I see him creating plays on the move, and he's the fastest guy on the field. Like he looks like the one D1 guy with a bunch of high school players at some point. I'm still high. I mean, long story short, still high. Love what I see so far. I'm sure you've seen some practice stuff that's really tantalizing as well.
Yeah, no, we've definitely seen a lot of like more deep shots taken and completed. But that's part of his, strengths, right? Is being able to complete those. I'm curious, like all the stuff you just said. I know, like you just said, it's still preseason, but like, how would you rate his readiness? Because that's the conversation, I guess, here in Chicago. Like, is he ready? Is he close to ready? Will we know if he's ready unless he plays in a real actual game? Like, what do you see in terms of readiness?
I think he's ready. I think that's what's awesome about all these young quarterbacks. I think they're all ready, which is rare. Like the one that maybe had the most hesitation on Zach Wilson, he's looked pretty good. His eyes can get a little screwy sometimes where he's trying to figure out where to go. I think Fields is ready because I just haven't seen any of the concerning stuff. I haven't seen where there's a play. I'm not even talking about like, oh, there's 1 or 2. I'm saying not one where I'm watching. I'm like, he has no idea what's going on. Like he has where he catches the snap and he's just hoping to be an athlete. Like you'll see a quarterback like Drew Lock do that, and that's why he's not starting. It's because he has no idea what the play is. He's just like, I hope somebody comes open right over the ball and I can throw it or I can scramble. And seeing the one where he had the bad snap, this is kind of telling for me, was he had the bad snap at his feet and he grounded. I want to say that was the first preseason game. And he handled it, blah, 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 dead play. It was ugly. I think it was the first drive. Right after the thing, I've 99% of rookie quarterbacks, or I say maybe 95%, which is kind of look to the sideline going like, oh, I can't wait for the next play. So everyone stopped staring at me. Fields, right as the play ended, walked straight to his center, and you could see it on film. Just walked straight to his center and was like, hey, you snapped the ball. And the center was like, oh, shit. Like, okay, yes, sir. Like, sir, yes, sir. Like, you could see the center going like, yep, I got you. Like, giving him a thumbs up, like, I got you. That is why I think he's ready. And I know that's just anecdotal evidence, but you don't generally see that with young quarterbacks. And so he has the headspace, like the eyes are great. He already is getting respected by his teammates. Just go with it. And he's just going to have the athletic. I mean, we're worried about, I saw somebody on Twitter say that week 1's going to be the red wedding with Andy Dalton starting against the Rams defense. And Andy can't really create like this. I know.
Yeah.
It's kind of mean.
The reference works in a lot of ways.
I know. And it's, that's why I think Fields, you got to give him a chance because he can create at least. Yeah, you want to save him hits, but guess what? It's like, yeah, that's 1 week. Are you going to just say, hey, each week that he might get hit a bunch of times, we're going to stop him and put Dalton back in as like a human shield? Like, I just think you just plant your foot and go with it. Because I think when you go with a quarterback or you make your decision, everything else falls in line. And I mean, the whole organization. You can go, hey, okay, now we got a rookie quarterback, so we got to sign this guy. And I know everybody's kind of on their last legs with the Nagy and Pace, but it's, hey, we have a rookie quarterback, so we got to sign this, we got to trade for this. We have a rookie. If you hem and haw back and forth, you kind of just do nothing. It's a bunch of half measures. And I think if you plant your foot and go with the guy, which I think should be Fields, it's a full measure and you're going. And everybody else is set in place. Now we know Andy can help out. It's not that teetering, oh, is Andy starting or not? And teammates feel weird and people walk on eggshells around it. Hey, if you just go with the young guy and just go roll with it and take your blows but let him just unlock everybody else and let him win you games. You know what I mean? That's just go with it. Let him win you games. That's what I think Justin Fields can do.
Yeah, and I think that's the big difference, right? Because we all know, we've seen enough of Andy Dalton's career. He's not a guy that's going to win you the games. He might just not lose them. And honestly, I think the Bears know that and realize that. And that's kind of been probably what they've been talking about behind the scenes as well. I think to your point about being worried about him getting hurt behind the offensive line. Like, there's no ducking anybody in the NFL. No. You can't just say, let's wait till week 4 when they play the Lions. Like, the Lions still have NFL players. Like, yes. It doesn't, you cannot do that. So that argument to me is just nonsense.
There's no small school that you get to play Austin Pay, in September. You don't get that in the NFL. All these guys are paid to kick your ass, and they don't care. They're not going to let up and go, oh, it's a rookie quarterback this week, let's go easy on Justin. It's like every week, everybody's gunning for your head. They actually have more for that if you're somebody with a narrative around you. Yeah,
and honestly, the Austin P, like, that was the preseason. Like, that already happened, and like you said, he's passing that test. He just is. You see it, and the one thing I go back to is Matt Nagy said, I think it was right at the start of training camp, he said, we're going to know it, and you're going to know it. Everybody's going to know it, right? And here's the problem with him saying that I think is actually getting him in trouble. That's already happened. Like, everybody sees it, everybody knows it, except they kind of made this promise to Andy Dalton that you were the starter when they signed him. And I guess the next thing I was going to ask you, Nate, is what do you think about that? Because honestly, I don't necessarily agree with it, but I do see how an NFL organization is saying the 11-year veteran we gave $10 million to, we did tell you we were going to be the starter when you signed here. We didn't have Justin Fields yet. We probably didn't even think we could get Justin Fields at that time. We think you can run the offense competently, so we are going to give you what some people could argue you deserve. You know the NFL. Is that a valid argument? Do other veterans in the locker room respect that? Do future free agents? I don't know. Or do you just say, sorry, man, you're just not as good as Justin Fields?
I think it's the argument that you make. It's whatever bed you make. Is if you said, hey, we promised him, man, I think you're just giving yourself an excuse. And coaches are very good and personnel guys are very good at living the lie of going whatever narrative they want to go down. I shouldn't say a lie, but whatever narrative they want to go down, they are going to sell out on that. So they're like, hey, we promise Andy. Hey, man, we promise Andy. You know how many other teams, you know what the Seattle Seahawks did with Matt Flynn after they gave him big money? Hey, we promise you're going to be our starter. Guess what? Hey, Russ, we just drafted him in the 3rd round. Russell Wilson's our starter now. Sorry. But that's what franchises, you have to make tough decisions all the time. That's the aspect. That's why you get paid the big bucks, though. That is something I've taken from my dad all the time. It's like, yeah, it's not fair that I have to, me, power that be, has to do these things. But that's why I get paid to do, is you have to make these tough decisions. And that's why I think it's a Breaking Bad quote when Mike, I'm blanking on his last name in it, but he just says no half measures. And I'm saying it again because that's what this is. That's what this is. It's like they're trying to do the best, talk out both sides of their mouth, whatever idiom you want to use here. That's what they're trying to do. And that's why I struggle with that is shit happens in the NFL. Shit changes every week, every day, every hour. You know, you don't know if somebody's going to get hurt in practice. You don't know who just fell into our laps into in the draft. You don't know who, like any of those things. We know who we all of a sudden became available for a trade a couple of years ago. Khalil Mack all of a sudden is a Bear. You know, like, did you guys enjoy, like, I know the guy that he just beat out for the DN spot that was like, oh shit, like, all right, well, there goes that, you know. It happens. It's a business. And I think that's what being a pro is understanding it's a business. And Andy Dalton's going to be a competitive dude. He's probably a great presence for Justin. And he really is. He's a pro. He should accept that. I mean, it is a business. And yeah, like you said, I don't think that whole free agency thing is as big in the NFL as it is in like NBA, where agents basically run the league. I think in NFL, it's kind of like, you have 7 guys that are all cut from the same cloth. Let's find the one that's the right price for us. So then it's like, hey, this guy hates us because his agent hates us. All right, well, we got 3 other guys we can go after. You know, there's just so many more available bodies. So I think that, yeah, but that is something you do have to remember, though. You don't want to piss off agents. So that's, I know, I'm trying to like, it's a little bit of everything, but that's managing people. That's why you have to make these decisions. But I agree with you. Even if you did make that promise, it's kind of one of those, it's got to be a hard talk. You just go, it's just things change, man. And I just think this guy gives us the best chance to win. We paid you a bunch of money to kind of give us a security blanket and be a good leader for everybody around here. And that's the talk you have to have. Yeah, like you said, everybody knows. And it's like, you'll know, everybody will know at the right time. And everyone's like, yeah, we know. Like,
yeah, we know.
The one that got me, when I was saying, hey, I haven't seen anything that's like where I'm scared or anything where I'm like negative on. He had a ball batted down the first preseason game. And it's the concepts I was just talking about, 989, I call it, but you'll see the Bucs run it over and over. Justin went to the go route, and the receiver ran the wrong, right, he didn't run the wrong route. He had the wrong release, so it squeezed everything real tight. He got out of it right away. He goes to his over route, and the over route was muddled, and he just went to his check down. The check down got batted down. He did all that right as he was taking his first hitch. And I was like, this guy, yes. I was like, because it wasn't like bullets started flying, because I've seen him do that in college. That's different. He gets to the NFL. All of a sudden, I see him in the NFL doing it. I know it's preseason, yes, but it wasn't like he had a great protection on this play. That's why the ball got batted down. It was like, oh, awesome. He's doing those little things. And it's like, all right, just let him go. Just let him go. Give him the whole playbook and just see how much he can handle and then go from there.
See, everything you just said there, you know, the receiver not having the right release, you know, the over route being muddled. This is, I think, the sticking point for me is, like, recently the Bears have said that Andy Dalton deserves this chance with the starters because he hasn't played with the starters. But at the same time, we haven't seen Justin Fields play with the starters. So we're talking about guys that we would never talk about at Bears camp because Justin Fields is making them worthy of talking about. Like, and their routes aren't perfect. They're learning on the fly. Some of these guys just got here right before camp. And like, this is what sticks with me is, yeah, you know, Andy Dalton deserves to be with the starters, deserves that shot. But, you know, hasn't Justin Fields done enough to at least pique your interest to see what he could do with them too, other than the occasional 3rd or 4th snap that he gets with the second team?
I know. That's exactly it. It's, I mean, all good teams, basketball, baseball, football, you remember all those role players because usually there's a star player that makes you remember them. Like, I mean, we all know who Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp are, you know, in the great offense. We all know who Byron Pringle is for the Chiefs because he's got freaking Patrick Mahomes throwing them the ball and throwing them touchdowns. We know who those guys are because the quarterback's really freaking good. And that's, I mean, Julian Edelman's getting Hall of Fame talk. He's not like never had 1,000, you know, like just guys like that. And it's just because the quarterback makes them look good. That's what a good quarterback does. They hide everything else around them. I mean, they seriously do. They just make everything look sugar coated. And it's like, wow, we're actually pretty good. And how many times, even with the O-line just falling apart with Justin in front of him, it falls apart in front of Andy. Andy's doing the best he can to read something out. And then it's a sack, a throwaway, a batted ball. Justin made what? Explosive plays in those situations. So like, just like you said, Adam, it's like, why isn't that being rewarded? Like this guy actually, you know, took chicken shit and made salad out of it. And Andy Dalton's just taking what he's getting, which it's fine. It's like having a running back that, yeah, it's blocked up for 4 yards. He's going to get 4 yards. Justin, it's blocked up for 4 yards. He can take it to a touchdown. Same thing. That's the difference between these two playing quarterback right now.
Whether you've been in a relationship for years or just getting started or you're excited to get back out there and meet new people, when the moment comes, you want to be ready. That's Roman Ready. Go to GetRoman.com/Adam now to talk to U.S. licensed healthcare professional. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED, all from the comfort and privacy from your home. Roman Ready equals confidence. The whole process is straightforward, convenient, and discreet. Getting started is simple. Just go to GetRoman.com/Adam, complete an online visit. Take care of your ED without leaving home. Complete an online visit today to connect with a U.S. licensed healthcare healthcare professional and take care of it. Go to GetRoman.com/Adam, and if you're prescribed, get 50% off your first month of ED treatment. Make sure you're ready to have confidence control this summer. Roman Ready. When you sweat, the primary electrolyte loss is sodium. Athletes can lose up to 7 grams per day. When sodium isn't replaced, it's common to experience muscle cramps and fatigue. Everyone needs electrolytes, especially those on low-carb diets, those who practice fasting, or those who are simply physically active and sweat a lot. Sugar, artificial ingredients, coloring, all that stuff is unhealthy and unneeded. There's none of that in Element. Dozens of professional teams and players are on monthly Element subscriptions, typically recommended by the head of sports performance and nutrition. It's just great for everyday health, too. Try it totally risk-free. If you don't like it, share it with a salty friend, and they'll give you your money back, no questions asked. Drink Element is a healthy alternative to sugary electrolyte drinks. Each grab-and-go stick pack replaces essential electrolytes with no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, or no other junk. I drink Element every day to support my diet and my workouts. My favorite flavors are raspberry and citrus. They're great. Give them a try. As a member of our community, Element has a very special offer for you. Claim your free Element sample pack. You only have to cover the cost of shipping. Get yours here at drinklmnt.com/Hoge Jahns. That's drinklmnt.com/Hoge Jahns.
This episode is brought to you by Brooklinen. It's still summer, it's still hot, and that's where Brooklinen comes in. You got to get rid of those hot winter sheets and get those easy, breezy comfort sheets for the season from Brooklinen. You want high-quality sheets, towels, loungewear, and so much more. Brooklinen has it. All this high-quality, luxury-grade comfort without the luxury price tags. It's no wonder why Brooklinen's got over 75,000 five-star reviews and counting. So go on, get summer ready with quality comfort, and get it for less at Brooklinen. Go to brooklinen.com and use promo code ADAM to get $20 off with a minimum purchase of $100. That's Brooklinen, BROOKLINEN.com. Enter the promo code ADAM for $20 off with a minimum purchase of $100. That's brooklinen.com, promo code ADAM. Today's episode is sponsored by the NBA and their quest to advance the game of basketball, grow the community, and impact culture. The league celebrates its teams, players, and fans across the past, present, and future as part of its 75th anniversary season. That's game highlights pivotal moments on court and beyond, from iconic plays in arenas to the impact players have in the community. That's NBA. That's game. Like in the NBA Finals, when the Bucks had their back against the wall, Drew Holiday steals the ball, pushes the break, alley-oop to Giannis for an iconic slam, seals Game 5 and the eventual title. That's the NBA. That's game. This is more than just basketball. It's what connects us all and keeps us coming back for more. That's the NBA. That's game. So here's where, as much as this becomes somewhat of a controversy and everybody's talking about it, and it is a valid conversation, here's where I just am also all right, everybody settle down, because we all know how this ends, and it's not going to take long. We've seen this over and over and over and over again in the NFL over the years. The Bears, first of all, I don't think they're a great team. In fact, overall, I've almost seen more concerns than I thought I would see in training camp. But they're going to be good enough that these games are going to matter enough that they're going to have to make the move, right? And if they don't make the move until week 3 or something like that, it's going to be because they won at least one of those games. And so they're going to be like, if Andy Dalton is still starting by week 4, he probably went 2-1. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. We've seen this Rams game before. We've seen it the last 2 years in Los Angeles on national television, and it doesn't go well for the Bears offense. They score less than 10 points. They look atrocious. And in past years, they didn't have anybody to go with. John, you're the one who is still convinced to this day that Mitch got benched for Chase Daniel 2 years ago at the Coliseum.
Yep, still convinced.
If he's willing to bench Mitch Trubisky for Chase Daniel, he's going to pull the trigger on Andy Dalton in the middle of the game to try to win. And Justin Fields is going to be playing before all this conversation in August is going to end up being useless, because by halftime of week 1, it's Justin Fields' season and we're moving on. And that's what's going to happen. I'm telling you.
When it's 17-0, they've been sacked 4 times. Also, it's going, there it is. I mean, last year he benched Mitch when he was doing okay against the Falcons.
Yeah.
He just did it like pulled it like, and I actually rewatched. I remember coming on here like a week after that happened, and I was just like, I don't know why he did it, but he did, and so if he's willing to put a quick hook on that, I mean, imagine when all of a sudden he's got number one we're standing right next to him.
Right, and again, if he doesn't make the move, it's because the Bears won with Andy Dalton.
Correct.
Like they're doing okay. So
and that's
either way,
results oriented process, which is
and Nagy
scary.
basically admitted that yesterday. So I still am like, as much as we're talking about this, like everybody take a chill pill because one of two scenarios is going to play out. Either they're winning with Andy Dalton, which I don't think is going to happen, but that is one of the scenarios, and then the other one is they're not winning with Andy Dalton and Justin plays.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the counter argument to that is why? Why even put? If it's inevitable, just make it.
Sure,
Hey.
but
Week one, like I get it. I know with all the promises, like here's a question for you, Nate. Like, put your dad's hat on or something. Be an offensive coordinator for me. What could possibly, like, Andy Dalton's got 10 years of experience, and I know that carries a lot of weight. But like for everything you just did,
I love this. I can't wait to hear the question.
I'm trying to get it out.
You're
trying to be
right, you're
articulating
right,
as kind with this question as I can. Like,
Sounds
what
like a
does
heart attack.
Andy Dalton possibly give you that's better than what Justin Fields can give you? If
Veteran
you're coming
leadership.
up with a game plan, like
It's like, but you're just that's exactly it though, is I have not seen anything mentally where I'm like, oh, well, that's why you can't have Justin out there. It's like, he can't handle checks. He can't handle a read. I've seen him post-snap and pre-snap do stuff already. And that's what he did at Ohio State. And now that's what he's doing in the pros. It's like, I haven't seen anything where I'm like, hey, like Hoge should have said, like, hey, let's pump the brakes. He's not, but it's like, no, it's like, let's just go. And that's long story short is I don't see anything that it's like, why would you not have the guy that can create something? And just bringing up the point of maybe the personnel not being as great as you thought. And I actually kind of have some concerns too, watching preseason is, well, let's let the quarterback make our guys look good. Like that's a concept. If we have a whole bunch of C's starting, let's make them look like B minuses. Let's make them just look tangible players. All of a sudden, we'll know who these dudes are. We'll know who these random undrafted free agents are at receiver and stuff. Like that is what a good quarterback does, and that's what I know. I just don't see an argument for it other than the veteran leadership, or you don't want to rock the boat. But it sounds like all the teammates are going like, we kind of like the rookie, so I don't really see much. I do not see it.
Well, and here's honestly what the problem is, and I believe it. And I'll back Andy Dalton on this. He really hasn't done anything wrong. Like that's part of the problem. He has handled this like an absolute pro. There's nobody in the NFL that has a bad thing to say about him. So like there's not even that one thing the Bears could go to say to him, be like, you know what, you don't do this right. And honestly, he has looked pretty good in these practices. I know people hate hearing that, whether it's from the head coach or from me, but he's actually practiced pretty well. So when you throw him in there in these games, and you can honestly say he hasn't been playing with Allen Robinson, he hasn't been playing with Cole Kmet, David Montgomery, like they may be excuses, but it's actually true. Like there's nothing that when they have the meeting with Andy to say we're going with Justin, there's nothing they can actually justify it on other than you're not Justin Fields. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, that's sometimes how it works in the NFL.
It is. I know. That's going back to our original discussion. That's the decision makers have to plant their foot on it and go like, have that hard talk. It's telling someone, hey, we're breaking up with you, basically. Like it's not me. Hey, it's not you, it's me. Like, I mean, that's what they have to do. But I mean, like you said, they don't have the excuse because he's played like Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton has played how you picture Andy Dalton to play in the Bears offense. And that's the good and the bad. And I think a part of this is why you play in week one is like we just made the joke about coming in at halftime, they're getting rocked. Is now you have the excuse. Now you have to go, hey, we're down 21. We need a spark, Andy. I'm sorry. That's what they need. Maybe they just need that built-in excuse where it's just like, hey, we are covered. We're not only covered just by ourselves. We're covered for anybody that hates Justin Fields and doesn't understand why we're playing a rookie. That's just making themselves bulletproof for any change that they do want to make. Not that it sounds like anyone in Chicago is fighting too much based on what I see going on right now, or just the shots of the stands where everyone's high-fiving over a 3-yard gain because it's Justin Fields getting it. Yeah, Justin Fields is getting it instead of Andy.
He hit the flat. What a play.
Oh my God.
Crowd
It was
goes
awesome.
crazy.
Every play, they just showed the stance. It was like the same guy, too. And he looked like he's from Alabama, but somehow he's from Chicago. But yeah.
You know what, too? If Andy Dalton's the guy that the Bears say he is too, and everybody says he is too, then he should probably give the thumbs up on it as well. Like this inevitable move, like Andy will understand, right? Like at the end of the day, I think you'll understand that this is not only coming, but maybe what's best for the current team, not just the future, but the current team.
And like you said, Andy Dalton is, by all accounts, I've met him once back in the day, but I would say like you just said, universally considered a good guy and a good teammate. So it's like, which is great, honestly. It's like it should, in theory, make these discussions easier. But, you never know what the dynamics of everybody are. He might hate somebody, like you don't know what those kind of interpersonal workings are. And by all accounts, yeah, it's sometimes it sucks in this business is that it's just like, and it always just seems like the people that are where you're taking advantage of it say, yeah, it's a business, but it's like, that's kind of what it is. Hey, at least we paid you $10 million, to be in our locker room, in our, veteran leader, in our quarterback room, helping a rookie quarterback along. And that's how you have to sell it to him. And like you said, I think Andy's the type of guy that be pissed because he's a competitor. I mean, listen to him. He goes, my time's now too. And people made fun of it, but it's like, no, hell yeah. I want to hear that. I want to hear that from any quarterback. Like, no, I'm the starter. Like, that's what you want to hear. He's competitive. But like you said, I think he is a good guy that would like take a deep breath and swallow his pride and go like, yeah, it's best for the team. And guess what? I signed with this team. It is what it is.
So my last question for you, Nate, is about Matt Nagy more than anything. And it's that, in Chicago, I think Jahns and I feel this every day. And maybe it's just the handling of this, which I don't think has been nearly as bad as people are making out to. But, he just, whatever equity he built up in 2018 seems to be gone. And the one area where that's completely fair is the fact that his offense has average rank of 26 in the NFL over the last 3 years in yards per play, which is a stat I like to pay attention to. So, it just hasn't been good enough. And this is year 4. And honestly, coaches don't often get year 4. Whether you're an offensive coordinator or a head coach, an offensive head coach, like if your offense is 26 after 3 years, you're lucky to still have your job. And that's just the reality of the league. So there's a lot of pressure here. I guess my question to you is, and this is sort of exasperated the last week because Mitch Trubisky came to Chicago and lit up the defense, even though we've seen what Mitch Trubisky does against vanilla defenses, and that's what the Bears defense was the other day, just completely vanilla. Like, please, that's a whole nother subject. Don't overreact to that. But it did create this discussion of, it wasn't Mitch, it was Matt Nagy. Do you think Justin Fields, if and when he plays, can be the key that unlocks this offense, or does it run deeper than just the quarterback?
I just know one thing. Andy Reid's been doing a lot of good shit for a lot of years, and no one cared until Patrick Mahomes was his quarterback. Good players unlock everything. And so all of a sudden, I think that stuff's going to look a lot better when he's running that 989 concept and reading it out as opposed to taking a sack, or he's scrambling for a first down, or he's hitting an RPO. Like, when you got a guy that operates that well, it just, all the concepts look great. Everyone tried to steal the Seahawks defense for years and years and years, not realizing that you need Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman and Bobby Wagner and awesome defensive pass rushers. But everyone goes, it's the system. It's the system. We're changing NFL football. And everyone tried to copy it for 5 years. And then now we're finally realizing, you don't have Earl Thomas that can cover sideline to sideline, and Richard Sherman that can lock down an entire half of the field, and Bobby Wagner that can run with a receiver deep. It's like, yeah, good players make everything look great. So all of a sudden, when you get Matt Nagy, who runs basically a Mr. Pibb version of Andy Reid's offense, it's going to look a lot better when you get a guy that can just handle everything and just go, hey, we're going to run a sprint out here. Awesome. Hey, we're going to run a bootleg here. Awesome. Hey, we're going to run a deep concept here. Oh, he can actually throw it 65 yards as opposed to like, he's going to throw 50 yards and it might go to the left, it might go to the right, but it's like Justin's at least going to like give it a shot, give it a chance. And we've already seen, those elite concepts look pretty great already in the preseason, hitting those tight ends late. It's because you actually trust him. He's going to make all those plays look good. So I think that's why you go with the good players, is because they make the coaches look good. And I think that's where you're going to see more where people go, he knows what he's doing. Hold on real quick. Is that in 2017, and I think I talked about this on here before, was Nagy did the stuff where he was bombs away on third down. And I'm telling you, everybody was like,
2018.
2018, I'm sorry. And And all of a sudden he's just, it was with the Chiefs, and he's just going bombs away, bombs away. And with Alex Smith as a quarterback. And it was just kind of one of those things where watching it, that was really cool. It's like, so Matt Nagy has some innovator in him, some way of looking at things different. It just helps probably when you have somebody competent to see it as he sees it. So that's what I'm very curious to see a trigger man run it, because the scheme stuff is like solid. I think Nagy's weakness sometimes is he sometimes loses the flow of the game. Like he's like, hey, I really like this play, I'm going to call it now, as opposed to going like, hey, we ran a couple zones, let's run a play action here, set stuff up. I think that's kind of one of his negatives, but I do think he's a solid play designer. And those plays are going to look really good when you have number one operating them and throwing it bombs away and actually hitting explosive plays as opposed to checking it down or panicking when they're back there.
It's the hang up with him and Mitch Trubisky, wasn't it? Perfectly dialed up play calls. Taylor Gabriel 5 yards behind the receiver.
But again, to your point, Nate, too, I mean, it's the players, because even you go to 2017 and it's like the one outlier in Alex Smith's entire career where I think he was top 3 in air yards.
Yep.
It helps when you have Tyreek Hill and
Travis Kelce,
and Kareem Hunt was on that offense. Yep. So like the Bears don't have those guys, but maybe Justin Fields is the thing that
if you have the quarterback, that's the thing, is that quarterback just bumps everyone else up a grade. It just does. It's quarterback does that for everybody. The center does that for the offensive line. They just have that effect of where everybody else just kind of chills the F out. and really that's what it does. It hides their blemishes. It's like, I didn't get that far open. Oh shit, the ball's right on the money. Okay, that's nice. Oh man, a right tackle missed another block. There goes Justin for a 12-yard scramble. Like, that's what a good quarterback can do.
I love that. I love that mentality. Justin Fields comes in and everyone just chills the F out. And all of a sudden it all works. We'll see if that happens.
Let's see.
Nate, we love talking to you, man. It's always insightful stuff, and you break it down like nobody can. So check out his work on The Athletic. And what else should we promote for you? You got anything?
I started my Substack today.
Ooh.
Yeah. So trying to do more of my Twitter threads into more of a one place, so you don't have to click on a whole bunch of tweets. So it's called The Silent Count. So silentcount.substack.com. Check it out. My first paid article today was breakdown Trevor Lawrence's game against the Saints the other night.
Have to check that out.
You want to talk about another stud quarterback? Yeah, it's he's the truth. Like he really is. Thank God they announced him as a starter, because I would have pulled my hair out if they act like this was a quarterback competition for one more day.
yeah, that was a competition for sure. For sure it was. Yeah.
Wink, sure. Nudge, nudge.
Yeah. All right, there he is, Nate Tice. Thanks so much, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks again for having me on.
All right. Always love talking to Nate, and that's going to do it for our episode today. Just nice, simple, full episode with Nate Tice. He's the best. And unless you got any final thoughts, Johnsy, as always, as I have to ask you contractually.
No, I'm good.
And most days you say, no, I'm good. I'm fine.
I'm good. Check out our 53-man roster projection on The Athletic right now. One more day of training camp. One more preseason game. And we're into regular season prep, my man.
There it is. With Andy Dalton. For at least a minute. All right, follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns, at Nate_Tice. We will talk to you after the game on Saturday in Tennessee. See ya.
Justin Fields time, baby!
Sign up today with BetMGM, the exclusive betting partner of The Athletic, and get a $1,000 risk-free first bet, plus get a free 3-month subscription to The Athletic. Just sign up at BetMGM.com/Adam to take advantage of the special offer from the King of Sports Books. That's BetMGM.com/Adam. New customer offer, paid in bonus dollars. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions.
Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, or West Virginia only. Excludes Michigan disassociated persons. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado, Nevada, and Virginia. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help in Michigan. 1-800-GAMBLER in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. And 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. In Tennessee, call or text the red line at 800-889-9789. Or if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. Promotional offer not available in Nevada.